Hey guys, I'm going to do another kitchen experiment. A friend of mine, Linda, and Linda, I'll butcher your name if I try to say it, so she watches my videos, and I'm happy to report that she has turned into a canning fool just like me. She had said that inspired her, so that's cool. But on to the topic. I was experimenting around with like a powdered cream soup mix. I've had this recipe for probably 15-20 years, just never made it, because when I do make something that calls for cream soup, I just make the roux from scratch. It's so easy. But I thought if I could do this, then I wouldn't have to try to make anything. You know, if I needed cream soup or something as we're traveling, I could carry this powder. So I made it last night. If it works out, we'll do it together. But right now I'm going to make some cream of mushroom soup for lunch with those mushrooms that I dehydrated. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, you're not going to see this video anyway. So, but to the powdered mix, I'll be adding some of my mushroom powder that I made. And, of course, the mushrooms that we dehydrated the other day. By the way, the big mess you see behind me, I'm baking our bread today, and I'm working on cranberry juice concentrate. No wonder I'm always cutting my hand, right? Because I'm trying to do way too many things. For 2/3 cup, you would add 2.5 cups of water. I would like my soup to be creamy, and if it's too thick, I can always add more water. So, I'll get the water and we'll get started. Okay guys, another senior moment. This is what it looks like after I added the water. I forgot to push the start button. You ought to be used to that with me, right? Anyway, I put in I got my mushroom powder, about that much mushroom powder. I put in, well, a couple small handfuls, a little bit bigger than this, and I crunched up the mushrooms when I put in, so I'd have pieces. There's some full slices and some pieces in there. So I'm gonna, if this works out, I will have a meal or a lunch ready to go in 15 minutes. A hot homemade lunch, soup. Okay guys, you know what? That cream soup base turned out amazing. A few things that we didn't like about it. It called for pepper, and it ended up just being too hot. Neither of us could eat it. Black pepper. And it also calls for, I gotta look, here's my recipe, thyme and basil. That, I've decided I'm not gonna put that in the base, because it just wasn't a flavor I would want with some, you know, some of the soups that you would use it with. The recipes, they're all over the internet. They're everywhere. You know, you can get these, and they're all pretty much the same. But it uses store-bought chicken bouillon, which, you know how I feel about that. So, here's what I was debating about. Here's my chicken bouillon. Well, I hate to waste this stuff for something like this. Here's my beef bouillon. Again, I don't want to put it in a mix because these things are a little bit more difficult to make. So what I've decided to do was use my mushroom powder. In my case, when I make like a cream soup that I'm going to use in a recipe, it's almost always cream of mushroom. We just like that. But I also have that celery powder, and you know, some use cream of celery. But I'm going to go ahead and use my mushroom powder. I wanted to know how much I had, and I probably had 3/4 a cup or more in here, which would be enough to make a triple batch of this. I don't want to make that much, but I am going to make a double batch. So you're going to see me doing this, and I will tell you of the changes I'm going to make. And because I also add garlic, and I'm using all my own stuff, except of course cornstarch, and I've not made cornstarch, and I'll be using non-fat dry milk. which of course I had to buy. So let me get things set up. We'll get ready to go. Guys, when you see how easy this is, you're probably going to want to do it yourselves. Remember now, I'm doubling the recipe. So this is 4 cups of non-fat dry milk. I've got 1.5 cups of cornstarch. And I'm not using the chicken bouillon. I'm going to use my mushroom powder. And it calls for onion flakes. I don't want to, sorry, this is my mushroom powder. I don't want to use my onion flakes. I'm going to be using some of my onion powder. And the recipe does not call for garlic, but you know we like garlic. So I'm going to put in a little bit of garlic powder. A little bit of these powders go a long way. Okay, you guys know that we like onion and garlic here. And the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of onion flakes. This is a teaspoon. And I'm going to go ahead and put 2 heaping teaspoons of onion powder. How about 3? And like I said, this garlic goes a long way. And besides, I'm getting low on it and I'm chintzy. You know, cheap. And so probably about a teaspoon of the garlic powder. All right, let's go with the 1.5 teaspoons. And that's it, guys. Then I'm just going to whisk it all up. And since it's going to be making what? 5.5, 6 cups. It won't fit in a quart jar. Quart jar is 4 cups. Kitchen math. So I've got one of my 1/2 gallon jars and I'll just put it in there. This is going to be perfect for traveling. You know, just bring along a smaller jar of this stuff and all you have to do is add water. One more thing I am going to add, because when you buy cream of mushroom soup, it's got small pieces of mushrooms in it. So I'm going to take, this is what I did in the soup I made earlier. I'm going to take a couple small handfuls of my dehydrated mushrooms and crunch them up. I might actually get out my what's that called? This thing. I'm going to crush them up just a little bit finer. And probably do 2 or 3 small handfuls of that, and I'll let you know what I end up doing. Okay, this will be my 3rd little handful. And the reason I've decided to do this way, I don't want to put it in my food processor and turn these mushrooms into powder. Because I want small pieces of mushrooms, like when you buy cream of mushroom soup. And that ought to be enough because I did use the mushroom powder. All right, all I'm going to do, finish mixing it up. I'll put it in my 1/2 gallon jar and show you where we're at. Okay, guys, here we go. I've got it. It looks like my jar is about 3/4 full. This is a 1/2 gallon jar. I've got a metal lid on the top. When I get my jar sealer out, I'll be able to seal this just like anything else. And I've labeled it right here. It says mushroom cream soup base, 1/3 cup mix to 1 1/4 cups of water. Thanks, Linda, for mentioning that. This is going to be very handy. Now I don't have to either make it from scratch, which I'll continue to do, or definitely I'm not going to buy pre-made cream soup. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Another one of my kitchen experiments.